Peace, family. Chauncey, aka Ukarema, Great Man of God Media, right back at you once again with another GMOGMedia Spotlight. All right, fam, I just got back from NYC on a mini vacation. Had a wonderful time. Those interested, you can check out my photos on Instagram. And man, just had a great time out there in NYC. I went to Times Square for a little while, but just had a great time overall, man. It was a great time and a great event for melanated people to do big things as far as being affluent, things of that nature, man. I had a great time out there. But anyhow, family, a lot of stuff is going on, man. Muhammad Ali just passed. Rest in peace to him. You know, he's a legendary figure that transcended the sport of boxing, as y'all know, fought against racism, white supremacy, was unapologetically black. I mean, what's already been said about Muhammad Ali has already been said, but, you know, legendary man, rest in peace to him. And also, you know, South Florida's very own Kimbo Slice just died. I mean, it's crazy. A lot of stuff is going on, family. You know, a lot of our people are passing. People in the spotlight, celebrities, things of that nature, they're passing left and right. So I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, family, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I'm Chauncey, aka Ukarema. I talk about counter racism. If you heard of counterintelligence, right? If you heard of counterterrorism, you rarely hear about counter racism. So this is what this channel is about. I deal with facts, I deal with history, I deal with logic, and I also deal with topics that pertain to black people collectively as a group, and I offer suggestions on how to remedy the situations and how to replace the system of racism, white supremacy with the system of justice. So with this particular topic, family, I want to talk about slave movies. I want to talk about the recent controversy with the Roots reboot or Roots series reboot that's coming out. That's already out right now. I have not seen it, family, so I'm talking about slave movies, period, as far as do we need the slave movies or not? Because the question is, do blacks need slave movies? And to answer that question, I would say yes, we do need slave movies, but we need to control our narrative, right? We need to write, produce, direct our own movies told by us. We don't need the dominant white society not only giving us the money, but saying, hey, I want to write, direct, and produce your movies. No, they need to be owned, controlled, directed, written, all that stuff by us, for us. And there's a lot of stories out there that have not been told regarding slavery. And, you know, also, you know, black people, we have the richest, most diverse culture in history on this face of this planet, bar none. So there's so many untold stories that have not been told on a feature film, a blockbuster feature film, you know, that needs to be told, right? And there's a lot of films out there that are in the works but have failed or have not got the proper financing for whatever reason. For instance, the movie by Danny Glover, which was supposed to come out a while ago, and I think he's still seeking finance, about the Haitian Revolution regarding Toussaint Overture, right? That movie has still not been greenlighted. So basically, the movie by Danny Glover about the Haitian Revolution with Toussaint Overture, he received $18 million from Hugo Chavez back in 2006. $18 million, that's basically one scene from a movie about Captain America or X-Men. That's one scene, right? I mean, I don't understand this, family. Well, actually I do, right? So we black people collectively as a group, we spend trillions of dollars outside of our community, but yet we aren't able to collectively finance a movie about the Haitian Revolution, a story that needs to be told, a story that needs to be on the big screen, right? Which is crazy. But anyhow, a movie that's coming out later on this year about Nat Turner, directed by Nate Parker, Birth of a Nation, is coming out. That's going to be interesting. I want to see how that film turns out. That got picked up by a major distributor. It was an independent movie and they got picked up, so it's going to be a theatrical release. So we'll see what that movie's about, right? Speaking of Birth of a Nation, family, ironic, the title of that movie, Birth of a Nation, there was another movie that came out prior to that with the same title in 1915, Birth of a Nation. And that was the first major blockbuster movie in the United States. And it was a white supremacist film about the KKK. Right? It was a movie that was budgeted at $60,000 and it made over $18 million in the box office. So I find that very ironic that another movie, Birth of a Nation, about Nat Turner is coming out this year, and over 100 years later, over 100 years prior to that, Birth of a Nation by the Ku Klux Klan was the first blockbuster movie in the United States, and it made over $18 million with a $60,000 budget. So that's quite crazy. But like I said, there's a lot of stories that need to be told regarding slavery. We have the most richest, diverse culture in the world, right? We have movies that I like to see come out, like King Musa, who happens to be the most richest black man, or the richest person, the wealthiest person on the face of the planet. You know what I'm saying? I want to see a movie about John Punch, who was the first slave, the first ever person to be considered a slave by law, right? And a lot of these white media publications and the social media sites, they like to say, well, technically, you guys were the first slave owners. Well, that's a misnomer and that's a myth. How can we be the first slave owners, right, when you guys wrote laws saying that we can't own or control anything? You guys wrote the slave codes. You guys wrote stuff like the meritorious manumission laws. You know what I'm saying? You guys wrote the Jim Crow laws. So all of these laws were specific by saying that we can't do certain things. And one of those things, well, obviously we can't own anything. So yeah, that's a myth. But again, like I said, there's so many untold stories that need to be told. I mentioned King Musa. I mentioned John Punch. I want to see a movie about Marcus Garvey. And I'm talking about blockbuster type movies with big budgets. You know, these comic book movies are able to get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Because comic books have a large fan base. When these movie studios are able to give big budgets like that, the movies are able to make hundreds, if not billions of dollars worldwide, grossly. So we could do the same thing because we have a diverse, rich history that needs to be told, you know? And the fact that black people collectively as a group, we still aren't aware about our history, which is why I'm such a big supporter of movies like Hidden Colors. As y'all know, I've done Hidden Colors screenings. I've done the Hidden Colors 4 screening. I've done Hidden Colors 3 screenings. So I support grassroots level type films such as the Hidden Colors. So another thing I want to address, family, if you guys are an upcoming screenwriter, movie director, producer, what have you, contact me. I'll do what I can to help you, make a movie that needs to be told regarding our history, or start a crowdfunding initiative, and I'll do what I can to help promote that, things of that nature. I'm all about black empowerment, black liberation, and supporting black businesses, black ideas, things of that nature. So I want to see these type of films get made. A movie like Toussaint Louverture about the Haitian Revolution should have already been made. Should have already had $120 whatever kind of budget, $100 million budget for that movie. But because the system that we live in, that's not true. We can't have that movie made. But again, we have to do things on a grassroots level. So more and more people need to know about the history of people like Toussaint Louverture, the Haitian Revolution. Danny Glover had a vision, and he's still trying to get that movie made. But movies like that need to be made, and there's so many untold stories about our history that needs to be told on the big screen with a big budget behind it. All right, family. So that's what I wanted to talk about, family. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what movie, what story do you think needs to be told on a big budget in big screen? Leave your comments down below and let me know what you think, what needs to be told, what story needs to be told about our history. that has not been told, or that has not been properly told, in your opinion? Leave your comments down below, family. I'll be having more content. Once again, family, a lot of content is coming with this channel that you guys are going to definitely enjoy. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, family. All right, Chauncey, aka Ukarema, Great Man of God Media, signing out. Peace.